Hello, welcome to the day 3 notes. It's still section 6.2. We're still going to be dividing polynomials. However, today we're going to be dividing polynomials using synthetic division, where in the last section we did it using long division. Okay, so if I wanted to say I wanted to divide x to the third minus 4x squared plus 6x minus 4, and we're dividing by x minus 2, the reason that we could do synthetic division on this one is because the thing that we're dividing by, the x's to the first power, that's important, and the ones we're going to be doing, the leading coefficient of x, it's going to be a 1x. So if it was something like x squared minus 4, you'd have to do long division. Or typically if it was 3x minus 2, we would do long division because we don't do synthetic unless it's x to the first power and there's a 1 in front of it. Okay, so what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the coefficients of the dividend, the thing we're dividing by, so that the degrees are going down. So the first coefficient of the x to the third is 1, and you want to make sure that you have all your values of x that are going down. So if we start with an x to the third, we have an x to the third, x squared, x, and then our constant, which is x to the 0. So we're good to go. I'm going to write down 1, the next coefficient is negative 4, the third one is 6, and then negative 4. Now what you do is in this little box, you're going to put what r is. And r, if we're dividing by x minus r would be 2 in our case. Okay, so that's step 1. Write the coefficients, write r, and then the last thing here we have to do is to bring that first coefficient down. So this first number, you're always just going to bring it down, and it's 1. Now, step 2, you're going to multiply. Whenever you have r, you're going to take r and you multiply here by the number below that horizontal line. So it's going to be 2 times 1, and that answer will go underneath the next coefficient. So 2 times 1 is 2. I write the 2 right there. Now, going down, step 3, you want to add those two numbers. So going down, we're going to add, and you get negative 2, because negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. Again, you're going to take this number, and you're going to multiply it by r, and that product goes underneath the next coefficient, so it's negative 4. Going down, you add, you get 2. Diagonally, you multiply this by r, you get 4, and then you add. This last number is always going to be the remainder. So in this case, it is 0. So just like with long division, our answer was always a polynomial. We now have to interpret what we got here as a polynomial. So remember this bottom row of numbers, this is the coefficient of your answer, or the coefficients of your answer. Okay, so we got to look back to our original polynomial that we were dividing. It was an x to the third, we divided it by an x. Whatever power, your original polynomial that you're multiplying to, whatever that power is, your answer starts with 1 power less. Okay, so not that it's powerless, just the power is 1 less. So we're going to take these coefficients. The first one is 1, so I don't even have to write that. And it's going to be x to the, I bring the power down by 1, so it's x to the second. Then this coefficient is my next one. I'm going to stop with all these arrows, but it's minus 2x, and then plus 2. So you write the rest of the polynomial in descending order, and you always start with a power smaller than the power of the polynomial you started with. And just as with long division, if you were missing one of the powers of x, you do need that placeholder of 0 there, because otherwise your answer is going to be completely different than what it should be. Okay, so let's try this first example up here. I noticed when I was doing my answer key, this should be a 3, 2x to the third. Okay, so we have 2x to the third minus 13x squared plus 26x minus 24, and it's being divided by x minus 4. R goes on the outside, so r would be 4, and then the coefficients of the dividend. All right, bring down that first coefficient, it's 2. 2 is going to be multiplied by that 4 that's inside the box. That answer goes here, 8. Okay, so this is how I would do 2 times 4. That's how I get that answer. Going down, I add. So negative 13 plus 8 is negative 5. Diagonal, I multiply by the 4, and it's going to be negative 20. Going down, I add. It's positive 6. Diagonally, I multiply 6 times this 4 that's in the box, the value of r. You get 24. Going down, we add 0. Now remember this bottom row, this row of numbers, this is the coefficients of your answer. We started with a x to the third, If we divide, it brings the power down by 1, so this is 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. Remainder is 0. That's our answer. Okay, this next example, I wanted to illustrate two things to you. First, over here, if it's a plus 2, remember that this should be x minus r, okay? And if it's a plus 2, if I wanted to write that as a minus something, what would it have to be? It would be a negative 2, because a minus negative 2 gives me this plus 2. So basically, it's always the opposite number. Okay, second point I wanted to illustrate. You should notice that right here, we go from an a to the 4th to an a to the 2nd. So there's a gap there. It's not an Old Navy, it's a gap. So you still need your 0 placeholder. So if we start with the a to the 4th, we have 4 of those. 0 a to the 3rds, 2 a to the 2nds, negative 4, and positive 12. All right, so going down, we add. Diagonal, you multiply. Going down, you add, multiply. Add, multiply, add, multiply, and add. So notice that our remainder in this case isn't 0. So final answer, for a, we started with an a to the 4th. We go down by 1 power, so it's going to be 4a to the 3rd minus 8a squared plus 18a minus 40. And now our remainder, we write the same way as we would with long division. It's plus 92 over the divisor, a plus 2. So hopefully if you see the pattern, you see that this is probably a lot more simpler than long division. Long division does take more steps. There's a lot more to it. And again, remember, for this to work, you have to be dividing by, the variable has to be to the first power, and then the coefficient has to be to the first power. All right, so pause the video. I would like you to try C and D on your own, and then check your answer against mine. Okay, so here are your two answers. For part C, you should have gotten 6b to the 3rd plus 4b squared plus 8b plus 28 plus 42 over b minus 2. And then for the second one, you should have gotten 2x squared minus 3x plus 5. If you didn't get those answers, I'm going to guess that the two places maybe you made a mistake is you didn't put in 0 placeholders. So make sure that you did. Look at the original polynomial that you're dividing. If there's a missing power, you need that 0 placeholder, or your value for r was wrong. So I'll just really quickly tell you that the value for r in this one, because it's a minus 2, remember I told you it's the opposite, so it should be a positive 2. And then here, if it's a plus 3, it should have been a negative 3. Okay, so if you did that correctly and you still got the answers wrong, please make sure to ask in class tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.